As we begin this unit entitled Take Action, we're going to be reading stories, poems, different things where characters and people have seen problems in their life, issues, they've needed something, something wasn't working, and they used their brains, they thought, and they decided to take action and change their outcome, solve the problem. So we will start by reading this short poem by Charles Ashton entitled Ben Franklin's Stove. What a great person to start with an example of people that saw problems and took action to solve them. Ben Franklin in our history is an amazing example of a very intelligent, wise man, very quirky guy, but boy, did he have the ability to be able to see the world around him, problems, issues at hand, and come up with creative, inventive solutions to make life better, not only for himself, but for everybody around him. Ben Franklin's Stove. Back in 1742, snow fell fast and cold winds blew. Ben Franklin's fireplace was bright, burning wood both day and night. But Ben would rub his icy feet. Too much smoke, and where's the heat? A fireplace does little good, for it uses too much wood. I'll build an iron stove instead. It will burn less wood, Ben said. Day after day, Ben's hammer rang on that iron. Clink, clunk, clang. The stove Ben made helped hot air rise, with no smoke to sting his eyes. Now, through the winter, Ben could boast, my stove keeps me warm as toast. By Charles Ashton. All right, now that we've read this poem, let's take a look at it and let's ask a few questions and dive into the poem a little deeper. The first one I'd like to take a look at is, what problem does Ben Franklin have? That's pointed out in this story. In this poem. Why don't you pause this video, and I want you to go back, reread certain sections of it, and see if you can find what the problem was that Ben Franklin was dealing with. You can pause now. Excellent. I'm going to go back and take a look through here, and let's see if I come up with the same thing you did. I know in my own understanding of stories and poems, usually a problem happens somewhere towards the beginning. So I'm going to go back towards the beginning and see kind of what went down. I see that the year was 1742 and it was cold. Winter was setting in. Franklin's fireplace was burning bright, man. He had that thing going. And it was burning wood both day and night. So right there, that tells me, wait a second, 1742, no electricity, no heater. They had used fireplaces in their houses to heat them up. And he's burning wood both day and night. And you got to buy wood. So it's expensive. And so running through all that. And then he's saying, wait a second, but he's still rubbing his icy feet? But his fireplaces weren't burning both day and night? And then he says, too much smoke. Where's the heat? A fireplace does little good, for it uses too much wood. So I'm looking here and thinking, okay, Ben's got a problem. He's cold, and he's doing whatever they normally do to be able to heat their house up, and that's run a fireplace. So if I was going to answer what problem does Ben have, I would say that Ben's problem is that the fireplace he is using to heat his home is not doing a great job. He's still cold. It's putting out too much smoke and not enough heat, using too much wood, and so it's just not good. So now let's take a look at the second question here, and how does Ben take action to solve this problem? So take a look back in here now, keep reading, and identify what action does he take. So pause this now, go back and find that answer, come up with your own words, and then when you're ready, unpause the video. Okay. Let's go back in here, pick up where we left off. And what's the next thing he says? I'll build an iron stove instead. It'll burn less wood. So it does skip a little bit from the poem. I'm sure he did a lot of thinking about this over time, but he came up with an idea of building an iron stove. And it says here that day after day, Ben's hammer rang on that iron, clink, clunk, clang. He didn't have the luxury of just going out to the Home Depot and buying one. He had to go and make something. So looks like he has lots of perseverance and grit, where he just gets in there and is building, building, building. Okay, so it looks like he worked hard. So how does Ben take action? He comes up with an idea to build an iron stove, and he spends lots of time building it. Okay, now let's take a look at question 3. What result do his actions have? Okay, he had a problem. He's taken action. What's the result? Okay, pause this video, go back, reread towards the end, come up with a good answer for answering that question. Okay, and then when you're ready, unpause it. All right, let's take a look. How did it result? The stove Ben made helped hot air rise, with no smoke to sting his eyes. Now through winter when Ben could boast, my stove keeps me warm as toast. So what result do his actions have? Well, the iron stove that he made allowed the hot air to rise with no smoke, and it provided the heat that he needed much better than the fireplace to keep him warm as toast. Warm as toast? Now wait a minute. He didn't literally become toast, did he? I would hope not. That's using figurative language to get you to imagine what it felt like. And so that's called a simile. When you compare two things that have nothing to do with each other, but somehow it makes sense. He became warm as toast. So that's called a simile, just to get your brain engaged to think about that. All right. Well, we're done here, and we will move on to the next section. Thanks, guys.